So, what's going on? Alright. Georgia, I've been making a video. Alright, so let's get going. We didn't finish, I didn't get to finish chapter 8. And so I read actually up to chapter 11. So I figure we're going to read up to chapter 11, and then maybe beyond, because let's make a long video today. And it's already like 10, so alright, we'll see. Actually, we're going to start in verse 13. So I'm going to use this as the pointer here. Okay. For I mean not that other men be eased, but ye burdened, and ye burdened. But by an equality, that now at this time your abundance may be a supply for their want, that their abundance also may be a supply for your want, that they may, does it say that? Oh yeah, that there may be an equality. As it is written, he that had gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. Exodus 16, 18. Exodus 16, 18. Okay, wow. But thanks be to God, which put the same earnest care into the heart of Titus for you. For indeed he accepted the exhortation. And what was this exhortation, by the way? But being more forward of his own accord, he went unto you. So he went unto them. And what else did he do exactly? I think he actually gave money to help the brothers. He gave money to help the brothers at Jerusalem, right? But what else did he do? Probably a lot. I'm, not 100% sure. This is something I should probably research. Just like it says, if I may back up, because in chapter 7, okay, let's just back up a little bit. In chapter 7, look, this is another research point. Having therefore these promises, dearly beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness and of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of God. So what promises is he talking about? Well, it's quoted actually. I think it's at the latter half here, verse 14. It's right after here. It basically, one of the promises is this: is God had said, "I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people." Right? So one of these is in like Leviticus chapter 26. Yeah. What else does it say? Therefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord. This is also in Leviticus chapter 19. And saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing. And I don't know what verse that is. I think probably, well, actually, I don't know. You have to research this. I will receive you. Okay, but let's continue on with the actual chapter that we're supposed to be reading. Sorry, not sorry. So, Okay, so we were on verse 17, so let's go to verse 18. Okay. And we have sent with him the brother whose praise is in the gospel throughout all the churches. And not that only, but who was also chosen of the churches to travel with us. So, yeah, he was given a ministry, Titus was, and he was allowed to travel with the apostles, with those who are sharing the gospel, right? With the travel with this grace, which is administered by us to the glory of the same Lord and declaration of your ready mind, avoiding this, that no man should blame us in this abundance which is administered by us, providing for honest things, not only in the sight of the Lord, but also in the sight of men. Verse 22. And we have sent with them our brother, whom we oftentimes proved diligent in many things, and now much more diligent unto the great confidence which I have in you. So because he was able to do these things and he was participating in the community, Paul had confidence in what he was doing. And he was as you say, he was faithful over the little things, and Paul wanted to give him more. Okay, he proved diligent in many things, but now much more diligent unto the great confidence which I have in you. Whether any do require of Titus, he is my partner and fellow helper. He's right on the same level, helping me concerning you or our brethren be inquired of. They are the messengers of the churches and the glory of Christ. They're the hard workers. They share the gospel of peace, the gospel of grace, right? And have discipleship. Wherefore, show ye to them, and before the churches, the proof of your love and of the boasting on your behalf. For as touching the ministering to the saints, it is superfluous. That means it's like above and beyond. It's like crazy. I'll give you an example. One of Georgia's friends gave her 17, if not like 30 meals, right? And it's like having a whole 2 months worth of food. It's been a real great help to my wife. So it's like going well above and beyond. He's mentioning this to them, knowing that they're going to use as an occasion to minister to others. They've been addicted. Wherefore, show ye to them and before the churches the proof of your love, and are boasting on your behalf. For touching the ministry to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you. Sorry, I kind of did that over. Yeah. For I know the forwardness of your mind, the willingness probably, for which I boast of you to them of Macedonia, that Achaia was ready a year ago, and your zeal hath provoked very many. Right? They're not only willing to do it, but actually doing it and loving it. And even though it's hard and they know it's hard, but going out of their way to share the gospel. Yet have I sent the brethren, lest our boasting of you should be in vain in this behalf, that as I said, ye may be ready, lest happily, if they of Macedonia come with me and find you unprepared, we that say not ye should be ashamed in this thing, in this same confident boasting. Oh, I'm reading 2 Corinthians chapter 9 right now. Now I forgot what verse I was at. Okay, yeah, we're going to be in verse 5. Yeah, for 2 Corinthians, it's kind of, I love 2 Corinthians. Therefore, I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren. What kind of exhort? We'll find out. That they should go before unto you and make up beforehand your bounty. Thereof ye had noticed before, that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty, and not as covetousness. Oh yeah, you think it's boring? I'm sorry, man. This is the Bible. Yeah. So what is this actually talking about, man? Your bounty. Hold on a second. Alright, hold on. So it's talking about verse 6. Okay, so let me switch translation here, and so I can kind of understand it myself, because I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 5. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so let's read this one. Therefore, I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren to go to you ahead of me, ahead, and prepare your generous gift beforehand. Okay, which you had previously promised. Okay. That it may be ready as a matter of generosity and not as a grudging obligation. So they're giving, right? So they're giving to people whom they might not even know who they are. So they're giving. So let's see what it says here. Verse 5. Is one of 5 is mentioned. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. So we're going to go on to verse 6. But say this I say, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. He, and he, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So let each one give as he purposes in his heart. If you have a lot, if you can give a lot, give a lot as your heart, right? Give a lot. If you don't, give what is in your heart to give. That's how I understand that. But if God has given you blessing, give blessing to others. Right? It's like pressed down, running over. Right? Don't give the worst thing or the leftovers or the junk or the whatever. Give the best that you can give. Okay. So, and God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you always have all sufficiency in all things, may have abundance for every good work, as it is written, He has dispersed abroad, and He has given to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. Now may He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food supply and multiply the seed you have sown and increase the fruit of your righteousness, while you are enriched in everything for all liberality, which causes thanksgiving through us to God. For the ministration of this service not only supplies the needs of the saints, but also abounding through many thanksgiving to God. So it's going to cause people to thank God, right? It's when people are thanking God, they're worshiping God, right? They're going to lead to worshiping God. And because your giving helps them, they're going to thank God for it. Because if you think this giving is just because you want to get the credit, that's not how it works in the Bible, okay, or in the churches. When you give to God, and He does the increase. Okay, verse 14. And by their prayer for you, who long for you, because of the exceeding grace of God, thanks be to God for His indescribable gift. Because God can take a small gift and multiply it many times, and you can see, such giving make a huge impact not only on you but at the whole community. It can make a domino effect, and make something worldwide. You never know. Oh yeah? Hi, Pro Skull Gamer. You're cool. Oh, let me read this one. I'm not sure what that is, but sweet dude. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Imagine how indescribable it is to help others. Okay. Dude, that's it for chapter 9, man. It's done, man. Chapter 9 is done. Let's go on to chapter 10. Now Paul Ooh, this is where it starts to get real, okay? This is where it starts to get real. Now I, Paul, myself, am pleading with you with the meekness and gentleness of Christ, who in presence am lowly among you, but being absent, I am bold toward you. That means he's praying for them, right? He wants the best for them. But I beg you that when I am present, I may not be bold with that confidence by which I intend to be bold against some who think of themselves, who think of us as if we walk according to the flesh, right? Remember the Judaizers? They're there to disrupt Paul and the work of Jesus, honestly. Crazy. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty, right? In God, for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity. Bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience. That's inside your mind. You're already inside your mind to punish bad thoughts, to rebuke the thoughts, to stop the thoughts in its tracks. I remember one time I was at it was in high school. I was working in high school. There's these girls everywhere with all these, what do you call it? They weren't barely wearing any clothes. So I kind of looked at one like, oh, and then God like immediately, don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I was like rebuked right away, man. I was like, whoa. So I was afraid. I never looked at those things again ever. God really punished me, for even thinking I could, get away with it. I can get away with nothing, man. Yep. Okay. So I stayed my eyes on God, and I keep my mind on him, and also on my wife, and I don't go anywhere else. But yeah. Okay. Where was I? Exalt yourself in the knowledge of God, bringing down every thought into captive to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Woo! Okay. Do you look at the things according to the outward appearance? If anyone is convinced in himself that he is Christ, let him again consider this in himself, that just as he is Christ, even so we are Christ. So think about this. When I wanted to get married, I didn't want this, the P word to be messing around in my mind and my thought. So I asked God, what do I do? How do I fix this? Well, I asked some people before I even asked God about how could you fix this? These kinds of thoughts. Well, you can't do nothing about them. My friends would say, you can't do nothing to stop these thoughts from happening. They're gonna happen anyway. Really? So one day I was like, no way. I wanna set be holy for my wife. I want to be because I was getting married. I want to be holy. So what do I do, Lord? And He gave me some tools, and I used the tools like religiously. Like, okay, I was serious about it, and He gave me this tool. It says, as soon as the thought pops into your mind, as soon as the thought pop into your mind, okay, you saw it, boom. As soon as you see it, rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Sorry. Yeah, man, I was just like, dude, this, and as soon as because it wouldn't happen like every week or every day. Well, when I first started, yeah, it was like every day I would think some stupid thought. And then as soon as the stupid thought happened, I just like was like, bam. Usually at night too. It's like, ooh, yeah, you remember that person? Ooh, this naked person? Oh, yeah, remember that naked person? Oh, that picture? Oh, yeah. Think about that picture. Oh, no. Heck no. I rebuke that. So, and that helps, man. If you're really diligent and in turning away from these kinds of things, they're gonna go away. The thoughts are gonna flee, and they might come back and bother you. But if you are diligent, you can have victory over the P word. And you won't have, and you can be pure for your wife when Let's say it happened. You want to be pure. I want to be pure, right, and holy for your wife. And you know what? God really blessed me because every time I think of her as the most beautiful person that I know. Maybe she doesn't, but I do. Okay, so let's continue reading the Bible, yeah? Sorry. I got like all sidetracked, man. Woo! Okay, do you look at things according to the outward appearance? If anyone is convinced in himself that he is Christ, let him again consider this in himself, just as he is in Christ, even so we are Christ. For even if we should boast somewhat more about our authority, which the Lord gave us for edification, for lifting up, and not for your destruction, I have not. I shall not be ashamed. Hold on. Lest I seem to terrify you by letters. For his letters, they say, are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak, and his speech is contemptible. Let such a person consider this, that what we are in word by letters, when we are absent, such we will also be in deed when we are present. So his letters, his words, and his deeds match. That is going to bring power and the presence of God on the words. So as I even speak the words, it should bring the presence of God, because Paul not only spoke with powerful words, he practiced what he preached. Woo! Okay. For we dare not class ourselves or compare ourselves with those who commend themselves, right? Who praise themselves. But they, measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise. We, however, will not boast beyond measure, but within the limits of the sphere which God has appointed us. A sphere which especially includes you. For we are not over extending ourselves as though our authority did not extend to you. For it was to you that we came with the gospel of Christ, not boasting of things beyond measure, that is in other men's labors, but having hope that your faith is increased, we shall be greatly enlarged by you in our sphere to preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's sphere of accomplishment. Okay, we're almost done. It's like really close. And then if I have time, I'll go through some of the notes here. But he who glorifies, let him glorify in the Lord. Not he who commends himself is approved. That's what it means. Commends is approved or recommended. But whom the Lord commends, that's who's recommended. That's who's approved. Okay? How do you know? Because you're in the Word. You know, how do you know? Because you have the thirst to read the Bible, and you have the thirst to share the gospel to others. How do you know? Because you're a part of the church and you want to help the church, and you're with your gift. How do you know? Because you're willing to do the gross things first, or something, small, right? And you're diligent with the small things. Okay, so let's go over and review some of these verses. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time with this though. Okay, so let's go. So Paul knew that we Christians, and that the Christians in Corinth planned to give to the Lord's work, and he had been bragging about their generosity. But in the middle of this discussion, he reminded them of a great spiritual principle. He who sows sparingly shall reap sparingly. He who sows bountifully shall reap bountifully. How you doing in Indiana? Fonsera? How you doing? Okay. But perhaps the reason they don't have money to give to God is because they have not obeyed in this area. When you give to God, He will always go to great lengths to pay you back. Maybe even double, triple. Yeah, when you're giving to God. Who knows? 100 times even it says, when you're giving with something that's not like an ulterior motive. Okay, I'm gonna skip some more. We're gonna go all the way over here. Chapter 10, verse 15. Paul had taken the gospel to the Corinthians, but another man was building on the foundation Paul had laid. There are always those who come into an established work and trying to draw people after themselves. This man in Corinth was trying to build himself up by tearing Paul down. What a loser. Okay, so we'll start chapter 11 next time. May God bless you and God help you every day. Okay, thank you for tuning in. God bless you.